They say every small town hides a story. Some are forgotten, some are forgiven, and some refuse to die. Alex Monroe thought he was returning home to settle a simple inheritance. He was wrong. What he found beneath that old windmill wasn't a relic of the past, it was a buried war, and he was standing right on top of the battlefield. When the letter came, Alex almost threw it away. He wasn't used to getting mail anymore. His world had shrunk into silence after leaving the service. He lived with Titan, a massive German shepherd who understood loyalty better than any human Alex had ever met. The envelope was thick, cream-colored, and official. Inside, a law firm from West Texas informed him that one Parker Doyle had left him a property, an old windmill near the town of Blackwood. The name hit like a ghost from another life. Parker Doyle, engineer genius, a man who once worked on classified systems during their military days. And now, apparently, he was dead. Alex didn't want to go, but something about the letter felt like unfinished business. Maybe guilt, maybe fate. Titan barked at the envelope, almost growling, as if he already knew what was waiting out there. The road to Blackwood was long and empty, a ribbon of cracked asphalt that hummed with memories Alex didn't want to revisit. When he arrived, the windmill stood tall against the horizon, silent, cracked, and forgotten by time. A local agent met him there. Her name was Kara Jensen. She handed him keys and told him about a man named Marcus Albright, someone who'd been trying to buy the property for months. She hinted that Parker refused to sell. Now that he was gone, maybe it was time to let it go. But her tone felt off, too polished, too rehearsed. Alex didn't answer. He just let Titan roam the property while he inspected the base of the mill. That's when Titan started barking, low, insistent, toward the back corner. Brushing away dirt and debris, Alex saw something faint, a metallic outline, hidden under the soil. A hatch. That night, Alex sat in his truck with the deed and Parker's old leather notebook. Inside were strange sketches, chemical symbols, and fragments of thoughts. At the last page, a single line written in Parker's familiar hand. "If you're reading this, trust the dog. He can smell what they can't." It made no sense. Not yet. The next morning, a black SUV pulled up. Marcus Albright stepped out, sharp suit, sharper eyes. He smiled like a snake and offered cash, far more than the land was worth. Alex refused. The smile vanished. Albright's warning was simple. This land attracts trouble. That night, Alex found his tires slashed. Titan's growl woke him around midnight. Flashlight in hand, he followed the dog to the same corner of the windmill. Titan pawed the ground, whining. Alex knelt, pried open the hatch, and stared into darkness. A steel staircase spiraled down below. The air grew colder with each step. Concrete walls, tangled wires, and rows of server racks stretched into the dark. When his light flickered across the room, a motion sensor clicked on. A low hum filled the bunker. This wasn't a shelter. It was a vault, a data vault. Rows of servers blinked to life, small lights like eyes opening after years of sleep. Parker had built something down here, something alive. Hours later, he wasn't alone. Lena Petrova, historian Parker once worked with, appeared at the site. She'd been searching too. She explained Parker had uncovered a massive corruption ring involving Albright and a federal judge named Gideon Blake. Parker had found proof, and this bunker was where he'd hidden it. Before he could expose them, he vanished. As Alex explored the vault, he began piecing things together. Financial logs, voice recordings, legal documents. It was all here. Years of dirty money and power trades buried under a windmill. Parker had been right to hide it, and someone, maybe many, had killed to keep it buried. Then came the sound that froze his blood. The lock above turning. Someone else was coming down. He shut the lights, waited in the shadows. 3 men descended, Marcus Albright, Judge Blake, and a hired gun. They planned to wipe the servers, erase everything. But Parker had left Alex a final gift, a hidden rifle case tucked under the main console. When Albright raised his crowbar, Alex fired once, not at them, but at the coolant pipe above. The pipe burst. Steam and sparks exploded across the room. Red emergency lights screamed awake. Chaos. Through the smoke, Alex's voice echoed across the bunker. He told them the truth, that Parker's death was recorded, that the land deed was forged, that every word, every threat, every bribe was stored right there, on those drives. And then Lena played the file. Parker's voice filled the air, calm, deliberate, recorded before his death. Every word of his last conversation with Albright and Blake, their threats, the struggle, and the silence that followed. The guilt in their faces said everything. Moments later, sirens. Real ones. The sheriff's team stormed in, guns drawn, orders shouted. Albright went down screaming, dragged into the light they'd buried for years. At the bottom of the stairs, Sheriff Ramirez stood still, watching Alex, watching Titan. The dog had led them there, running miles through the night, Alex's phone on his collar, until he found help. When Titan trotted back into the bunker, sunlight pouring down behind him, Alex broke. He dropped the rifle and knelt, arms around his dog. For the first time in years, he let himself cry. The investigation lasted months. Federal agents uncovered everything Parker had hidden. It became the biggest corruption scandal in Texas history. Albright, Blake, their companies, their associates, all gone. Alex and Lena testified. They told their story again and again, each time a little easier. When it was finally over, Alex came home, and for the first time, the silence didn't feel empty. It felt peaceful. Months later, a letter arrived from the Department of Justice. Alex's actions had led to the recovery of billions in stolen assets. Inside the envelope was a check, a reward that could change his life. He stared at it for a long time, then folded it away. Money didn't matter. He already had what he needed. A year passed. The windmill was no longer abandoned. It stood tall again, its blades restored, its foundation sealed. A bronze plaque read, "The Parker Doyle Historic Windmill, a monument to a man of quiet courage who believed that truth, like energy, can neither be created nor destroyed." Alex built a small home nearby. He founded the Doyle Legacy Foundation to support veterans and train service dogs like Titan for those still fighting invisible wars. Every day, he worked with quiet purpose, Titan sleeping by his feet. The nightmares were gone. The ghosts were finally still. One evening, Alex sat on his porch, the sun bleeding gold across the fields. Titan leaned against his leg, old but loyal. They watched the windmill spin slowly in the fading light. Alex smiled. "It's beautiful, isn't it, boy?" Titan sighed softly, and for the first time Alex truly believed. The mission was over. No more secrets, no more battles, only peace. The windmill turned steady in the wind, its rhythm like a heartbeat, a reminder that truth always rises no matter how deep it's buried. Because sometimes the greatest stories aren't about heroes or wars. They're about the quiet men who fight unseen battles and the dogs who lead them home.